Hello and welcome to another episode of Beer Man's No Bull Beer Reviews. Today I have a beer from a new brewery that I have not done a review for yet. This is from Lenny Brewing Company out of Charlotte, North Carolina. This beer is Bourbon Barrel Aged Breakfast in Heaven. It's an Imperial Stout aged in Heaven Hill barrels with Madagascar vanilla beans, Counterculture Coffee, which I think is a local coffee roaster here in Charlotte, and Cacao Nibs and Lactose. And it is 10% ABV. So, I saw this was releasing today. I didn't think much of it because I only had a few things from them. They weren't bad, but they weren't anything special. And I had just heard in general that most of their stuff wasn't that great. And they're really big on making kombucha and stuff, so I figured they weren't that committed to the beer side of things. But I had heard from people that this beer, the barrel-aged version, was actually really good. And this is the first time they actually packaged it. I guess they've made this... They packaged the beer before, or the regular one, but not the barrel-aged one. So this is the first time they canned it. So someone who I do trust on here, their palate, they told me, yeah, you should check it out. It's usually pretty good. So I went there today after going to release at Divine Barrel, and I went, and I did try it on tap, and I really liked it. But again, packaged versions can be different, and I wanted to do a review on here. But I will say, I'll preface it by saying, this is probably like the cheapest barrel-aged, like, Imperial coffee stout that I've ever bought. It was $15 for a 4-pack. So with tax, it's like $4 a can, which I thought was a really, really good price. So, anyways, I'm gonna crack it open and see what we have here. You can see that there. So it looks pretty carbonated, and that was interesting too, because when I had it today on tap, I thought it was pretty undercarbonated, but maybe it is undercarbonated, and just the carbonation that was there just fizzed away really quickly. But at least the draft that I had some head on it, and it was actually pretty dark. It was like a darker tan head. You can see here, I mean, it's pretty dark brown to black. It is, if you move it around a little bit, it is a little bit like cola looking. So it's not like the darkest of the dark stouts, but it is still, I mean, it still looks like a pretty dark stout. So it still definitely smells just as good as I remembered smelling it earlier today. Really nice dark roast coffee, but absolutely zero of that like green pepper coffee character. But I think the chocolate and vanilla, I don't think the flavor comes out or the aroma comes out that much in them, but it's more they kind of play a balance to the roastiness of the coffee, which is awesome. I mean, I do get a little bit of vanilla and a little bit of dark chocolate too, but coffee's definitely the biggest aroma. There's absolutely some bourbon in it too, but it's almost coming off as like a generic spirit rather than like oaky bourbon. So yeah, the carbonation level is pretty similar to what it was on tap. That was the only complaint I had about it, and again, that's just like a very nitpicky thing. I just think it would if it was more carbonated, it would bolster the body a little bit, but that really doesn't change the flavor that much. Again, in the taste, it's Man, I feel like this might even be better than draft version. Maybe because the draft I got was really, really cold. I did try to warm it up a little bit, but I also didn't have time to stay there all day, so I didn't let it warm up to... But this, I actually only refrigerated this for probably like 40 minutes, and then I let it sit out for like 10 after I pulled it out of the fridge. So I think it's a pretty optimal stout drinking temperature. And it's like, you taste the coffee up front, and it's super clean. That's definitely the most dominating flavor you get. But when you really, like pucker your lips and try to see what else is underneath it, there's a ton of just like this, just like cocoa powder and baker's chocolate. Like, not like a super fudgy brownie, but like a more traditional, like drier chocolate brownie. There's a little bit of perceived sweetness, which I'm guessing is from the vanilla, because the beer itself doesn't seem like it's that sweet. And there's definitely some bourbon character to it, but that's what I love about barrel-aged coffee stouts, because as long as the barrel is held in check, it generally seems to almost just like bolster the coffee flavor more than it tastes like straight bourbon, and that's kind of what's going on in this. And it actually is, like, it doesn't look like it because it's not really carbonated that much, but it actually has a pretty oily mouthfeel, and that's why I think if it was more carbonated, it would actually feel even thicker than it is. It is a pretty hefty beer for only being 10%, and I know I'm saying only, like 10% is low, but for nowadays, 10% for a stout is not that big. And it is a pretty hefty body for 10%, and just bigger than what I kind of was expecting from a beer from these guys, to be honest, because I hadn't had anything really big from them. But yeah, I mean, honestly, to me, this kind of just tastes like a... if you just made like a mocha, like a chocolate, like coffee with chocolate in it, and then dumped a shot of Heaven Hill in it, like that's what this tastes like. So there's nothing mind-blowing about it, but it's just really freaking tasty, and it's cheap as hell for how good it is. $4 for a can of this, to me, just blows me away, because I've had stuff that was, it was the same level as this, but was probably 3 times that price. I mean, $4 for a can of this is equivalent to $8 for a bomber. Excuse me. So I've definitely had like $24 bombers that were this quality, and I wasn't like, oh, this is definitely a rip-off or anything. So the fact that this is only $4 for a can is crazy. I bought 2 4-packs of this today. I wanted to have a couple. Like, this isn't something you want to store away for a while because of the coffee, but I wanted to have a couple just to give the friends in Pittsburgh for them to try it, because I just think it's like such a... At the price, I don't feel bad about giving 1 or 2 of them away like for free just for people to try them. Yeah, I think it's pretty obvious about what I've been saying, but this is definitely a buy for me, and obviously since I tried it and bought 2 4-packs, it would mean I would buy it again. But I might drink through some of these in the next couple weeks, and if they still have some left, I might buy more. I don't know if this is getting distributed or not. A lot of their cans do get distributed, but since it's the first time they did it, I have no idea if this is getting distributed. But so if there's other people in Charlotte that are watching this, obviously you can go to the brewery probably and still get it. I'm guessing it didn't sell out because there was like no one there when I went. That's the other thing. There was no line for this, no anything, which I often applaud the Charlotte beer people for not waiting in crazy, like for creating crazy lines for no freaking reason. But at the same time, there was literally like no one at the brewery, so no one cared about it at all, and that kind of blows my mind because this is really good, especially for the price. Like, you go to breweries and people were taking away truckloads of stuff that costs like $25 a bottle, and it's like you could take truckloads of this away and get the same amount for a third of the price. So, but anyways, I think that's all I got on this one. I'm really, really impressed by this. This, in my opinion, this is good enough where I'm gonna not sleep on their stuff, and if I see other stuff from them on tap, I'm gonna try it. Because this is not an easy thing to do, to make something this big and well-rounded in mass like this, and especially at that price. That's just crazy. So yeah, I think that's all I got in this one. Please like, comment, subscribe, let me know what you think, and I look forward to doing the next one. Thanks.